Okay, let's talk about the big B, Bitcoin. What do I think about it? A lot of people are buying it, and I just want to kind of discuss my 2 pence on this. I feel like people aren't really talking about it, and if they are, it's not really out in the open. And here's the thing: I'm just going to cut it short. This video isn't going to be me waffling, hopefully, but if I do, let me know in the comments down below, and I really want you guys to get involved in this topic as well. But I think Bitcoin is going to be a big pump and dump. I think it's going to zero. And I know that's going to annoy a lot of people, and I'm going to get a lot of people in the comments just going mad at me, maybe because they've already bought into Bitcoin or they think something completely different. But here's the thing, and if you look at Bitcoin as a whole, like, what's its use case? What's its purpose? People love it because it's going to be decentralized, the governments aren't going to have any control over it, and there's going to be like no inflation. Like, that's just some of the plus points to it. And then let's break it down. Who controls the country? The government, right? If they were going to give away all this control, do you think they'll allow it? No, they're not going to let you have all this control. All they have to do is just say Bitcoin's illegal. Like, not only can you not spend it normally now, but now you can't even purchase it to hope to maybe make you rich. Like, think of the use case as money. So if you look at money, a fiver, like, I don't believe in our currency right now, so don't worry about that. Like, if we're fiat currency, this currency is going to zero. Like, look at the German Deutschmark back in before World War One, right, or just after World War One. People were burning the money because it was so worthless, or people were having wheelbarrows of cash to buy food, and they were stealing the wheelbarrow because the wheelbarrow was worth more than the cash it was carrying. Right, it's like that level of inflation will most likely happen to the US dollar, to the British pound, to the euro, etc. It's already happening. COVID has massively accelerated the pace of inflation. Inflation usually goes around 2-3% a year. During COVID, it's now like double digits, like 10 to 15% of inflation per year. Quote me if I'm wrong, like whatever. Just put in the comment box what the inflation actually is on the fiat currency system that we're in. Right? It's not good. But what I'm saying is with Bitcoin, if I spend a fiver now, I want to know that the fiver I spent is still going to be a fiver in 5-10 years time. Not, oh, I spent this much of Bitcoin on some pizza, and then in 5-10 years time I realized I could have bought a house with it. Because then I don't want to spend my Bitcoin. Now, if I don't want to spend my Bitcoin, then the money doesn't transact. It doesn't flow. It can't be used as a currency. So I know everyone's like, oh, he's buying this with Bitcoin. Why do I can buy that with Bitcoin? I'm like, no, you're not. Because if you believe Bitcoin's going to the moon, you're not going to spend it. You're going to hold it and then wait for the, what do you call it? Like diamond hands, just buy and hold or whatever it is. If you believe that, then the money doesn't flow, money doesn't work. Money has to transact. It has to be constant flow motion. You can't just hold it and not spend it. Like, you have to. And guess what? The banks aren't going to say, hey, by the way, you can pay us in Bitcoin for your mortgage. No. All the gurus who teach you about Bitcoin, what are you paying them in? Dollars, pounds, whatever. Like, I know some companies are accepting payments in Bitcoin for certain things, but that's because right now it's a hype. Like, don't forget, Elon Musk, the guy that everyone seems to love, who's an amazing guy, whatever, he doesn't accept Bitcoin. Like, it's too volatile. It costs a lot of power, electricity-wise, just to mine it, to run it, right? And again, going back to the government's control, are they going to let you have control? No. Have they ever let the people have control? No. Are they ever going to let any people have control? No. So then you'll want to buy something that you have zero control over and you have no use case for it. Like, if you can't touch it, you don't own it, right? That's how I see it. Like, our currency system, if I had a fiver on me, I'll tell you, but I don't, right? I don't have any cash on me, right? It's basically what we live in now is a crypto kind of world anyway, right? But at least people can accept that transaction, like that fiver for, let's say, the Big Mac I want to buy. Hopefully, in a year's time, the fiver can still buy me the same Big Mac, right? It might be £6 to buy me a Big Mac. What I'm saying is, it's not going to be that far off. However, when it comes to Bitcoin, I'm going to spend something of a Bitcoin to buy this, and I realize, oh, I wish I never spent it now because it could have bought me this thing, or I could have bought a Lambo with that. Like, everyone who used Bitcoin to buy drugs back in the day realized they could have been a multi-millionaire now if they didn't use it to buy the drugs, right? This is not going to work, right? Like, as a transaction basis of a currency, it can't be that volatile. It has to be the same. or fluctuations. I know our currency, as I keep saying, 2 to 3% of inflation a year, but still a fiver is roughly going to be a fiver, right? That fiver isn't going to be worth $5,000. Like, so that side of the whole Bitcoin use case doesn't work, doesn't make sense to me. So what is actual money? What we have as a system right now isn't money, it's currency. It's just printed. It's just pieces of paper, to me, is worthless. What is real currency is precious metals, gold and silver. It's happened over the time for the millennia, right? People have used gold as a form of currency, as a form of value. Not only does it have a bunch of different use cases in very expensive situations. So for example, they use a lot of gold as space. If you buy Rolexes, they have gold in them or platinum in them. Buy jewelry, it's silver. Like, these are all things that you can use as a currency, as a value. So if you've got no cash on you and you got a Rolex on, you can trade. Let's say the Rolex is worth nothing, right? It goes to zero. The gold in the Rolex is still worth something. You can take the gold out, melt it down, there you go. Now you got a form of bartering that you can use. That's an actual piece of something that you can hold, control, it's real, you can bite it, whatever, that you can give to someone else as a form of value. If no one wants to buy your Bitcoin, it's worth nothing. It doesn't produce anything. If you have a farm and no one wants to buy your farm, do you care? No, because the farm still produces money. If you have a stock and no one wants to buy your stock, doesn't matter, no, because it goes up in value over time, right? But if you have Bitcoin and no one wants to buy your Bitcoin doesn't make you more Bitcoin. It's just there. It's worthless. It doesn't do anything. Price of gold is going through the roof. As less people are being confident in the US dollar, gold is going up. We're seeing all-time highs right now with gold. Why? Because it actually has a real value. China aren't buying Bitcoin. China is buying gold by the shit tons, all right? Tons and tons and tons of gold. And you're probably wondering, why did everyone sell off their gold, especially in the UK side of things? Like, why did they sell off their gold, right? Why did we get off the gold standard? Well, they wanted to suppress the price of gold because it actually has a real value. If you start believing that gold has a real value, that is true wealth right there. Not printed money that the government give you every day that we have right now. Hence why the inflation's gone through the roof, because we got off the gold standard back in the 60s or 70s. I think it was Nixon. I could be wrong. But it was during the space race and the Vietnam War, right? People, before it was on the gold standard, the money that you could lend out could be from the gold that you had as a value. So if I had, I don't know, $1 billion worth of gold, I can lend out $1 billion worth of notes, right? Now, when it got off of that standard, the gold didn't have to be there for you to lend out the money. So you're lending out a load of money that you don't actually have or own or control. So you print off more money to pay off the last loan and go, basically, hey, Fed, can I have some more money? And they go, yeah, sure, print. Here's a load more money. And then it comes to the end of the year and you can't pay off your loan, and you go, can I have another loan to pay off the old loan? And you go, yeah, sure, boom, here it is. And it just goes again and again and again and again and again. And you print off hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, and now there's more money in the circulation. The value of what you have goes down and down and down every year, because if I have one of something, it's worth a lot of money. If I have 1,000 of that thing, it's not worth that much money at all. Essentially, that's what it is. You already know this. But why is it important? It's because gold has proven its value over centuries. Bitcoin has been around for 10 years, right? No one really knows where it's going to go. But if you just look at it as an asset, can you spend it now really freely? No. Will we ever? No. I know you're saying institutions have got it, right? So this gets people excited. Oh, institutions are adopting Bitcoin. Here's the thing. Has the institutions ever done anything for your benefit? No. Now, if they're the largest holder of Bitcoin, that means they have all the control. If they want to dump it, they can dump it. If the government say, hey, Bitcoin's illegal, and they dump it, all your savings is now gone because it's gone to zero. You see what I'm saying? Like, your whole idea of, oh, Bitcoin's going to set us free, I don't think it will do, because you're never going to be free from the system. It is what it is. No matter who you are, the system controls you in every way, shape or form. So don't try and look at Bitcoin as a way out of that, because it's never going to happen. The banks are going to own everything you do. They own everything you do now. Like, you can't avoid it. That is just the way it is. And I'm not being a doom and gloomer. What I'm trying to say is, like, don't use it don't use Bitcoin as a way of trying to get rich, to be honest, because all those people that sell that want you to buy Bitcoin because it inflates the price of the Bitcoin they already have. So if I have, let's say, $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and I have a huge channel, and I say Bitcoin's amazing, and you buy it, well, there's more demand for the product I own, which then puts the price up. So I kind of see Bitcoin really as just this giant pump and dump, if I'm honest. I know it's going to cause some hate, so let's discuss this in the comments down below. And if it gets enough attention and we want to do another retake of this video and go through all the points that I've got wrong and that I don't know nothing about, then we can do another video about it. But that's kind of how I feel like Bitcoin is, to be honest. I just see it as a huge pump and dump that has no real use case. And even if it did have a use case, will the government even let you use it? Probably not. That's just my 2 pence. If I'm going to invest in anything that I think is going to take down the fiat system and have true control, it's going to be precious metals, gold, silver, platinum. That is a real asset that has value. As I said, if you have jewelry, that's gold, you can melt it down. Now you actually have true currency that you can use. You can't do that with Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm just beating a dead horse by going over and over it again. But yeah, let me know what you think. Again, I might just call this segment like Discussion Mondays or something, as my normal trading pattern is going to be on Fridays throughout my week, because obviously I don't trade Mondays now. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment box down below. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts.